Have you ever wondered what would happen if you stopped talking for just one day? What if the constant noise around you disappeared? What if the endless explanations, arguments, opinions, and distractions suddenly stopped? Most people are terrified of silence because silence forces them to meet the one person they spend their entire life avoiding, themselves. Today, I challenge you to imagine something powerful. Imagine staying silent for just one day. No unnecessary conversations. No arguing. No trying to impress anyone. No explaining yourself. Just silence. What if I told you that this simple act could reset your mind, sharpen your focus, reduce stress, and help you reconnect with who you truly are? Stay with me until the end because what you discover may completely change the way you see yourself and the world around you. Silence is not emptiness. Silence is where clarity begins. Most people spend their lives surrounded by constant noise, not just the noise of the outside world, but the noise inside their own minds. Opinions from others, endless notifications, social media updates, worries about the future, regrets from the past, and the pressure to meet expectations all compete for attention every second of the day. In this endless stream of distractions, people become reactive instead of thoughtful. They respond without understanding, speak without listening, and move without direction. But when you choose silence, something remarkable happens. The noise begins to fade, and the fog that clouds your thinking slowly lifts. Silence creates a space where your mind can rest, reset, and reconnect with what truly matters. It allows you to step away from the demands of the world and return to yourself. In that quiet space, silence becomes a mirror. It reveals thoughts you have been avoiding, emotions you have been suppressing, and truths you may have been too distracted to notice. At first, this can feel uncomfortable because silence forces you to face yourself without escape. Yet this is where real growth begins. The answers you seek are often buried beneath layers of noise, waiting to be discovered. The more comfortable you become with silence, the more clearly you can see your priorities, your purpose, and the direction your life should take. Instead of hearing the endless voices of others telling you who to be, you finally hear your own voice, the one that has been there all along. And in a world addicted to constant stimulation, the ability to sit in silence and understand yourself becomes one of the greatest forms of strength and wisdom. When you stop talking, you begin observing. Most people move through life on autopilot, speaking quickly, reacting instantly, and filling every moment with words. They rarely pause long enough to truly see what is happening around them. But when you choose silence, your attention shifts. Instead of focusing on what you will say next, you start paying attention to what others are saying, how they are behaving, and what remains unspoken beneath their words. You notice how often people speak without thinking, how many arguments exist only because someone could not control their emotions, and how much energy is wasted on conversations that add no value. Silence gives you the gift of awareness, allowing you to see patterns that are invisible to those constantly caught in the rush of speaking and reacting. As your awareness grows, the world begins to reveal details you once overlooked. You hear the rhythm of the wind, notice the subtle expressions on people's faces, and recognize emotions hidden behind smiles and confident words. You become more present, more attentive, and more connected to reality. While others are distracted by noise, you are gathering understanding. Silence transforms you from someone who merely participates in life into someone who truly observes it. And observation is the birthplace of wisdom. Every great thinker, philosopher, and leader understood the power of watching before acting and listening before speaking. The more deeply you observe, the more clearly you understand human nature, and the more wisely you navigate the challenges of life. In a noisy world, the quiet observer often sees what everyone else misses. One of the greatest benefits of silence is emotional control. Most people allow their emotions to take charge of their actions. The moment someone says something offensive, they fire back without thinking. The moment they face criticism, they rush to defend themselves. A single negative comment can ruin an entire day because they react instantly rather than thoughtfully. But silence teaches a different way of living. It teaches you to pause before you respond. In that brief moment of silence, you gain something incredibly valuable, the ability to choose your reaction. Instead of becoming a prisoner of your emotions, you become the master of them. You begin to understand that not every insult deserves an answer, not every disagreement requires an argument, and not every opinion deserves your attention. Silence gives you the power to remain calm when others are losing control. This ability to pause creates a powerful gap between stimulus and response. Within that gap lies wisdom, patience, and self-mastery. While others are driven by anger, frustration, or pride, you learn to act with clarity and purpose. You stop giving people control over your emotions because you no longer react to every trigger placed in front of you. The strongest people are not the loudest voices in the room, nor are they the ones who always have the perfect comeback. True strength belongs to those who can remain composed when challenged, calm when criticized, and silent when speaking would only create more chaos. They understand that words spoken in anger often create regrets that last for years, while silence often prevents conflicts that never needed to exist. In a world where everyone is eager to react, the person who has mastered silence possesses a rare and powerful form of strength that cannot be shaken by the opinions or actions of others. Silence also reveals your hidden thoughts. Many people spend their entire lives running from silence without even realizing it. They fill every spare moment with distractions, social media, television, music, endless conversations, and constant activity. The moment they are alone, they reach for something to keep their minds occupied. But the reason is often deeper than boredom. Deep down, many people are afraid of what they might discover if they stop long enough to listen to themselves. Noise becomes a shield that protects them from uncomfortable truths. As long as they remain busy, they never have to face their fears, question their choices, or examine the direction of their lives. Yet silence has a unique power. The moment the noise fades, the hidden corners of your mind begin to speak. Thoughts that have been ignored for months or even years slowly rise to the surface. Old wounds, unspoken fears, forgotten ambitions, lingering regrets, and unanswered questions all begin to reveal themselves. It can feel unsettling because silence removes every distraction and leaves you alone with the one person you can never escape, yourself. For many people, this is the moment they turn away. They return to distractions because facing their inner world feels uncomfortable. But discomfort is not always a sign that something is wrong. Often, it is a sign that something important is trying to grow. Just as muscles become stronger through resistance, the mind becomes stronger when it has the courage to face difficult truths. The fears that appear in silence are often showing you where courage is needed. The doubts that surface may be revealing limiting beliefs that have controlled your life for years. The regrets that return are not there to punish you, they are there to teach you lessons that can guide your future. And the dreams that quietly reappear are reminders of possibilities you may have abandoned too soon. Silence gives these thoughts a voice, allowing you to understand them rather than avoid them. What once seemed like emotional burdens can become valuable teachers when you are willing to listen. As you spend more time in silence, something remarkable begins to happen. You start recognizing patterns in your thinking. You notice the stories you repeatedly tell yourself. You become aware of the fears that hold you back, the habits that drain your energy, and the beliefs that limit your potential. Many people live for decades without gaining this level of self-awareness because they never create enough quiet space to observe their own minds. Silence acts like a mirror, reflecting not only your weaknesses but also your strengths. It shows you the parts of yourself that need healing, but it also reveals the resilience, wisdom, and potential that have been hidden beneath layers of distraction. The more honestly you look into that mirror, the more clearly you begin to understand who you truly are. Over time, silence transforms from something uncomfortable into something valuable. Instead of fearing it, you begin seeking it. You realize that some of life's most important answers do not come from the outside world. They do not come from social media, public opinion, or the constant advice of others. They emerge from within. In silence, you gain clarity about what truly matters, what deserves your energy, and what needs to be left behind. You stop living according to the expectations of others and start living according to your deepest values. The voice you hear in silence is not just another thought, it is often the quiet wisdom that has been waiting patiently beneath the noise of everyday life. And when you learn to listen to that voice, silence becomes more than a moment of quiet. It becomes a path toward self-discovery, inner freedom, and lasting transformation. In today's world, attention is one of the most valuable assets you possess, yet it is also one of the most frequently stolen. Every day, countless distractions compete for your focus. Notifications flash across your screen, social media platforms demand your attention, news headlines pull you into endless cycles of information, and other people's opinions constantly seek space in your mind. Most people move through life without realizing how much of their mental energy is being consumed by things that contribute little to their growth or happiness. They wake up and immediately surrender their attention to the outside world. By the end of the day, they feel mentally exhausted, yet they have accomplished very little that truly matters. Their focus has been scattered in dozens of different directions, leaving them drained, distracted, and disconnected from their goals. In a world designed to capture your attention, protecting it becomes one of the most important skills you can develop. This is where silence becomes a powerful advantage. Silence creates a barrier between you and the endless noise competing for your focus. It allows you to step away from the constant demands of the world and regain control of your mind. When you spend time in silence, you stop reacting to every notification, every opinion, and every distraction that crosses your path. Instead, you begin directing your attention with purpose. You become more selective about what deserves your energy and what does not. Rather than allowing your mind to wander aimlessly from one distraction to another, you train it to remain focused on what is truly important. This ability may seem simple, but it is becoming increasingly rare in modern society. Most people have mastered the art of distraction, very few have mastered the art of concentration. As silence becomes a regular part of your life, your mind starts to change. Your thoughts become less scattered and more organized. You find it easier to focus on tasks without constantly checking your phone or seeking stimulation. Ideas become clearer because they are no longer competing with endless mental noise. Problems that once seemed overwhelming become easier to solve because your mind has the space to think deeply. Decisions become more confident because they are based on reflection rather than impulse. The mental fog created by constant distraction begins to disappear, revealing a sharper, calmer, and more focused version of yourself. This is why many of the world's greatest thinkers, leaders, and creators valued solitude and silence. They understood that clarity is rarely found in chaos. It is found in moments when the mind is free from unnecessary noise. Silence is not weakness, avoidance, or withdrawal from life. It is mental training in its purest form. Every moment you resist the urge to react, every moment you choose reflection over distraction, and every moment you protect your attention from unnecessary noise, you strengthen your mind. Just as physical exercise builds the body, silence builds mental discipline. It teaches patience in a world of instant gratification, focus in a world of distraction, and clarity in a world of confusion. Over time, this practice transforms the way you think, work, and live. While others struggle to maintain their attention for a few moments, you develop the ability to direct your mind with intention and purpose. And in an age where attention has become the most valuable currency, the person who can control their focus possesses a power that few others will ever understand. There is a reason many of history's greatest thinkers, philosophers, and leaders valued solitude and silence. Throughout history, the individuals who changed the world often spent significant time alone with their thoughts. They understood something that modern society frequently forgets: wisdom does not grow in constant noise. It grows in moments of reflection. While the world rushes from one distraction to another, true insight often arrives in stillness. Great ideas rarely appear when your attention is divided between dozens of tasks, endless notifications, and constant conversations. Creativity, understanding, and deep thinking require space. They require a mind that is not overwhelmed by external demands. This is why many of the most influential people in history deliberately created periods of solitude. They knew that silence was not empty time, it was productive time. It was the environment where clarity, innovation, and wisdom could flourish. Modern life trains people to believe that being busy is the same as being productive. Every spare moment is filled with information, entertainment, or activity. Yet a constantly occupied mind has little opportunity to think deeply. It becomes like a crowded room where every voice is competing to be heard. Important thoughts are drowned out by endless noise. Silence changes this completely. When you step away from distractions, your mind begins to slow down. Thoughts that were once buried beneath stress and stimulation start to surface. Ideas begin connecting in ways they could not before. Problems that seemed impossible suddenly appear simpler. Solutions emerge naturally because your brain finally has the space to process information without interruption. Silence allows your mind to move beyond surface-level thinking and enter a deeper state of understanding where genuine insight is born. One of the greatest gifts of silence is that it helps you connect scattered thoughts into meaningful patterns. Throughout the day, your brain collects experiences, observations, emotions, and information. Most of these remain disconnected because there is never enough quiet time to process them properly. Silence acts like a bridge between these scattered pieces. It allows your mind to organize, reflect, and discover relationships that were previously hidden. What once appeared as random events suddenly begins to make sense. Lessons emerge from experiences. Opportunities become visible. The bigger picture starts to reveal itself. This is why some of the most powerful breakthroughs in life happen not while working harder, but while sitting quietly, walking alone, or spending time in peaceful reflection. The mind often finds answers when it is given room to breathe. Perhaps the most remarkable truth about silence is that many of the answers you are searching for may already exist within you. People often spend years looking outside themselves for guidance, validation, and direction. They search through books, videos, opinions, and advice from others, hoping someone will provide the solution they need. While outside wisdom can be valuable, many answers cannot be found externally. They emerge from your own understanding, experiences, and intuition. The challenge is that these answers are often buried beneath layers of noise and distraction. Silence uncovers them. It gives your inner wisdom the opportunity to speak. In the quiet moments when the world becomes still, you begin hearing insights that were impossible to notice before. And often, you realize that what you were searching for was never far away. It was waiting patiently within you, hidden beneath the noise, waiting for a moment of silence to finally emerge. Another surprising effect of silence is increased confidence. At first, many people feel uncomfortable when they stop talking because they use words as a way to seek validation from others. They feel the constant need to explain themselves, justify their decisions, or prove their worth in conversations. In many cases, speech becomes a shield, something used to fill awkward gaps, avoid judgment, or gain approval. But silence slowly breaks this pattern. When you stop over-explaining, you begin to notice that your value does not depend on how much you say. You realize that your presence alone is enough, even without constant verbal confirmation. As you grow more comfortable with silence, something powerful begins to shift inside you. You stop relying on external validation and start developing internal certainty. Instead of measuring your worth through reactions, responses, or approval from others, you begin trusting your own judgment. You learn to sit in moments of quiet without feeling the need to fill them. And in that stillness, a different kind of strength develops, one that is calm, steady, and unshakable. You no longer feel pressure to convince everyone or defend every opinion. You understand that not every situation requires a response, and not every silence needs to be broken. True confidence is not the ability to dominate a conversation or always have the perfect words ready. It is the ability to remain grounded even when you choose not to speak. It is being secure enough in yourself that silence does not make you anxious, and being strong enough to know that your value is not reduced by your quietness. In fact, silence often increases respect, because it signals control, awareness, and emotional maturity. The person who can remain calm without filling every space with words demonstrates a level of self-assurance that cannot be faked. Over time, silence transforms confidence from something you try to show others into something you quietly carry within yourself. Silence helps you reconnect with the present moment in a way that nothing else can. Most people live their lives mentally scattered, pulled backward into regrets about the past or pushed forward into anxiety about the future. Very rarely do they fully exist in the now. Their bodies are in the present, but their minds are constantly elsewhere, replaying old mistakes or imagining worst-case scenarios. Silence interrupts this cycle. It gently pulls your attention away from time and places it back into awareness. In that stillness, you begin to notice things you usually overlook. Your breathing becomes more conscious. Your surroundings become clearer. Even simple moments, like sitting, walking, or observing, start to feel more alive and meaningful. Instead of just thinking about life, you begin to actually experience it. In this state of presence, something profound happens inside you. The mental weight you have been carrying begins to lighten. Stress, which often feels overwhelming in a noisy mind, starts to lose its power when there is silence. Worry, which feeds on constant thinking, begins to fade when there is nothing fueling it. You realize that many of your fears exist more in thought than in reality. Silence creates space between you and those thoughts, allowing you to observe them rather than become trapped in them. And in that space, peace slowly begins to take root, not as something external you have to chase, but as something that naturally emerges when the mind becomes still. Perhaps the deepest lesson silence teaches is that not every situation in life deserves your energy. Not every opinion requires your response. Not every misunderstanding needs to be corrected. Not every conflict needs to be won. Many people exhaust themselves trying to respond to everything, defend every point, and explain themselves to everyone. But silence offers a different path, one rooted in wisdom and self-control. It teaches you that your energy is limited, and spending it wisely is essential for your peace and growth. Sometimes the most powerful response is no response at all. Sometimes walking away in silence is stronger than speaking. Your peace becomes more important than winning arguments. Your growth becomes more valuable than proving a point. And over time, silence reshapes your priorities, reminding you that where you choose to invest your energy ultimately determines the quality of your life. Now tell me in the comments. If you stayed completely silent for one day, what do you think you would discover about yourself? Silence is not the absence of sound, it is the presence of truth that can finally be heard. If you think I provided valuable content, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who needs this message today. Follow for more powerful growth and self-improvement content, and don't forget to comment your thoughts in the comment section. Your story may inspire someone else to begin their journey toward clarity, peace, and personal growth.